Good morning, everybody. Welcome in to the right side of campus here for December 6th, 2018. I'm your host, the big man on campus. Thursday night football, we'll get to that and more. We got some hoops as well. A lot going on. Welcome in. Donnie Wright, how you doing?
Doing good. Fresh, refreshed, ready, Jeff. Thursdays, not a lot to talk about, right? Really short card in college basketball, one NFL game, but this is how we show our professionalism, Jeff. Give a good, honest 1 hour show here to set the day off the right way, right?
Yep, we'll get to that and more. A lot going on. Thursday night football. Who is the game tonight, Donnie? Oh, Jags Titans. Just kidding. I knew that already. Jags Titans.
Come on.
Oh, I didn't know that, but I know now. Jaguars Titans. If anyone cares, that game's tonight.
Yes.
Game that's pretty. What do you mean? Yes. Nobody cares about that game. Donnie. Teams aren't winning nothing.
What are you supposed to care about on Thursday night? Come on.
Yeah, I don't care about it. But we'll get to it. I know people care about it, so we'll get to it. We'll get to that and more a little bit later. We'll start out with some headlines, but before we do that, we welcome you all in. We hope you had a great evening, and you're ready to go here on a Thursday, wherever you are around the world. Go ahead and hit the like button for us and say hello in the chat box. If you're new around here, please subscribe, and hope you enjoy the channel. There's a lot of stuff at SBR, Donnie, going on. I mean, SBR picks, a lot of great blogs and contents. Make sure you're checking all of that out. And if you're in the need for a Sportsbook, make sure you're checking out that as well, sportsbookreview.com. All the reviews and all the books. Make sure you're choosing the right one. Let's get into the morning headlines here. Paul Goldschmidt, Donnie, traded to the Cardinals. Definitely Arizona cutting everybody loose. They're ready to rebuild. Not really sure what they're building from. They never won anything, but they're moving on from their franchise player Goldschmidt, who is an all-star every year. A career almost 300 hitter, 710 RBIs, terrific player. Now you have some power at Arizona. Nice move.
Yeah, I do like the move to the Cardinals. Just seems like they know how to add on. They gave up a lot of prospects, but it just seems like the Cardinals and like the Dodgers, Jeff, and like the Yankees, don't they just seem like they have endless prospects that you just keep on going deep into the well and you can come up with good players? But then I question the motives of like the Arizona Diamondbacks. Is it one of those where you just say, well, San Francisco is always a good organization. We can never compete payroll-wise with Los Angeles. Revenue in the Major League Baseball is sky high with all these, regional sports networks. What's the difference? Our fans aren't really that.
I think we lost. I think we lost Donnie. Someone could, Raphael, if you could confirm that. I think we lost Donnie. He's having some internet issues, but either way, a nice fit for the Cardinals. I would have liked the Yankees to have went after Paul Goldschmidt. Frankly, I think the uncertainty at first base is something that I think could be fixed quickly. Luke Voigt had a nice season, but to think he's going to continue that, I don't know. Seems like a bit much. Greg Bird has not been what you envisioned he'd be. So I would have liked to have seen the Yankees. I mean, I would have loved to have seen him in that ballpark up in Yankee Stadium. But the Cardinals make the move. They get the man, and he stays in the NL. Yep, person you're trying to reach is currently unavailable. Please try our call again later. So we'll try to get him back here. I had Temple money line last night. They had it. They did have it, but as I said in my breakdown, the height hurt Temple. Temple's bigs are not good. Okay, when they face a team that has dynamic bigs like a Pascal, like a Jermaine Samuels, and get out and shoot the basketball, they're going to get beat. And the second chance points are brutal. I think Villanova had 13 second chance points, 11 offensive rebounds. That's not going to get the job done. I said I would have been very surprised if Temple even covered, let alone won. I know this team. They can't beat Villanova. They just can't. And they always blow it. That's what they do. And that's why I'm so sick of Fran Dunphy. I'm ready for him to go away. But you know what? Basketball is basketball. When you can't rebound, you can't rebound. Nice call on Illinois State going over. No problem. Yeah, that was an easy one. Ended up flying over. Are the Phillies getting Mad Bum? I don't think they were ever in the running to get Mad Bum. What else do we have here? Top salary teams always win. Gotta be correct. Are we getting Donnie back or no? Is he gonna be back? Because if not, I'll keep going with the show. I don't want to keep running over things when we don't. Not yet. Okay. Well. Right. What we'll do is we'll just kind of go through the headlines, and when he comes back, he comes back. Emmanuel Sanders tears his Achilles. Big loss for the Broncos. You know, you look, Demaryius Thomas gone. You traded him. You had hopes for Sanders, and now he's gone. So that's a big hit to the Broncos going forward. A big hit because now, who do you have to throw to? I guess Cortland Sutton's your number one. Carlos Henderson, guys like that. Big loss. You now lose both those guys. Look, I don't think the Broncos are winning anything anyway, but again, it's a big loss. The loss is not on Dunphy. Yeah, it is. The loss is always on him. He doesn't coach them well enough. His substitutions were poor. The loss is always on Dunphy. It's solely on Dunphy. I locked in Denver before the injury. Well, that's not good because now I'm sure you're not feeling too good about it. But hey, that happens. I mean, you can't expect to get everything right. Sometimes injuries happen. That's just the name of the game. If you guys have any hoops questions you want me to get to them to me now. We'll take some of those while we wait for Donnie Wrightside here. And it's not the greatest day for him to not be here because I'm still dealing with a cold. I don't have a great voice right now. So it's nice to have him here to, so I can take a break and I can, you know how it is when you have a cold. You clear your voice and you don't like to talk for an hour straight. So not the greatest day for him not to be here. SBR Form, what's up? Thank you. PMC05, welcome in. Gonzaga over was tough. It pushed. It was 160. And not for nothing, it wasn't really tough. I mean, it was it had no business going over. It was 40-30 at halftime. So I mean, they scored 90 points in the second half. Biggest frauds in college basketball. Iowa has to be up there. Yeah, I would be up there for sure. Bad defensive team. Bad defensive team. Can Buffalo or Nevada go deep or win the NCAA tournament? No, neither can do that. They could go far. I could see Elite Eight for Nevada, something like that. But no, I don't think that's going to happen. Closing line, you weren't getting in the way of Utah State, but went with BYU. Well, frankly, I didn't really look at the game. So at that point, someone asked me about it, and I didn't really have much of an answer. But it was something I had my eye on. I needed to know that Emery was back, and he was, and he made a big difference. Donnie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there we go.
We're back.
Winston Moss. Why don't you tell us more about Winston Moss, the Packers coach? What happened to him?
Yeah, I love it. I mean, a guy who's ride or die, as we like to say, Jeff, with his head football coach, which was Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy gets canned. Joe Philbin, who is on my short list of coaches that I do not really appreciate in the NFL, just the way he carries himself. And now he's back in the top seat, at least for the rest of the year, in Green Bay. And Winston Moss decided to tweet out, Jeff, after he was named head coach, nobody's holding anybody accountable in this room, and you need to hold 12 accountable, and this should be a Lombardi standard. Losing sucks. And he was promptly fired right after that, Jeff. So ride or die with the guy who gave you your job first. I think Winston Moss has been there for over a decade, at least as long as Mike McCarthy's been in Green Bay. So shout out to the guy who said, you know what? You're going to fire the head football coach, and then you're going to hire this lapdog here to suck up to Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to let it be known. And he was quickly boxed up, Jeff, and left the building.
Well, he wasn't wrong in his statement at all. I mean, he also said, Donnie, ponder this. What championship teams have great leadership, period? It's not the defensive guru trend. It's not the safe trend. Find somebody that's going to hold number 12 and everybody in the building to a Lombardi standard, period. He's not wrong, Donnie. We can't just
he's not.
Hiring
the whole fun thing is McCarthy should have been held to a Lombardi standard. He's a terrible head coach, but maybe the GM or somebody should be held to a higher standard and say, we have a generational quarterback back here. Let's strip down and make it all bare bones parts and just watch him go out there and operate. Who runs that organization? Imagine being a GM in there all those years and you had Aaron Rodgers. Imagine if Tom Brady, Jeff, only got one Super Bowl. You'd be like, whoa, who the hell's coaching? Who's the GM?
Yeah, no, they need to go out and make the right hire, man. No, that's gonna be important for them. How about those Nets? That money line was in play, so close. Yeah, the Nets are a good play. I took them myself. That was a good one. Donnie, you always gotta love the NBA where there's like 85% of the money on one side and the line goes down. You gotta love those, and it's a home dog you're getting. Like you're getting a home. Like
wild.
you know my favorite spot in the NBA? Let me tell you, my favorite spot in the NBA, a home dog getting 6.5 or 7 points. I love those. And the line like doesn't move and goes down. Like the line goes from 7 to 6.5 and the 85% of the money on the Thunder. And I'm getting a dog at 6.5, 7 points. I'm getting 3 possessions at home with a dog that can score. I mean, I love that. Magic were another one. Magic covered as well. Another same situation. Home dog, cash money. Now, before we move on, you cut out with this. I mentioned I would have liked the Yankees to go after Goldschmidt. I've always liked Goldschmidt. I think the uncertainty of first base with Voit and Greg Bird's inability to do anything, I would have loved to have seen the Yankees grab Bird. He would have been nice in that stadium. Maybe use him as a DH.
Would have been great. Probably would have to give up probably Gleyber, Torres, and Andujar to get him. I would have done it because I think Goldschmidt is just that good in Major League Baseball. I probably would have done it. But yeah, you're right. If he was in, I mean, can you imagine him raking in New York? Jeez. I love Goldschmidt.
No, I can't.
One of my favorite players.
Yeah, he always he doesn't talk a lot, so you don't really ever hear about him. But he's a 5-tool guy, always very good, always very dependable.
Doesn't he fit right in St. Louis? Like you just say Goldschmidt, like you just put him in St. Louis, like that's like the perfect guy. He looks like a big white corn-fed dude for the Midwest, and you just put him right in there at first base. They'll love him.
You know where he's from, Donnie?
Where is he from?
Delaware.
And you know what's interesting about that, Jeff?
Newark.
A couple years ago,
North,
I saw him hit his either his first or second Major League home run at Citizens Bank Ballpark. And I remember looking at Goldschmidt. What kind of name is that? Little did I know.
Yeah, he's from he's not far from us. He went to I want to say he went to like a college in Texas State or something. Yeah, that was it. But yeah, he's from Delaware. Another baseball comment here. Manfred the Limit shifts. I know you don't like shifts. Look, I don't mind. I think it's part of the game. But again, Donnie, I'll say to you, and I'll bring this up. We talked about it on our radio show. I don't know how many people heard it, but I want to make this clear. I can't firmly understand how baseball, it's the only sport on earth where the rules are different for either league. I don't understand how this league exists. It's not fair. It's not a fair league. How can one league the pitcher hit and the other league it doesn't? The DH thing is the dumbest thing in the history of sports. Donnie, it's like in soccer or like football. Or let's say in football, Donnie, the AFC got 10 players and the NFC got 11 players. It's not fair. How can this be allowed? I'm still blown away.
Well, it wouldn't be like that. It would be the equivalent of saying you can play 2 quarterbacks. Like you can have Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady on the same team in the AFC on the field. Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Or whatever. And you get what I'm saying. It's just, it's not fair. How is this supported by people? You have one league where they have a leg up. It's so stupid. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
No, I mean we've brought that up before, but back in when it originally came on board in the early days of the AL where they just added it in, we talked about it yesterday. It's all a money grab now. The only reason that the NL doesn't approve it is because that's a $20 million+ position that the NL ball clubs don't want to pay, which is great because shouldn't it be about winning? Like, hey, I'm an NL ball club. I don't want to add $20 million automatically to my payroll. All right, well then you're just going to get your head smashed in when you go to American League ballparks because we're going to DH Scott Kingery in Philadelphia when you're going to have a David Ortiz in your part. Doesn't that seem a little bit idiotic, Jeff?
Yeah, it's very idiotic. I just don't get it. I don't understand how a league of that size, America's pastime, where like say you're teaching this, Donnie, to someone that doesn't know what baseball is. So they learn baseball, and then they start to get into baseball a little bit, and they say, "Well, wait, I'm noticing I'm watching the Phillies, and the pitcher hits, and he never gets a hit because pitchers don't ever get hits." But then I'm watching the Royals, and they're playing, and the pitcher doesn't have to hit. That's kind of weird. Why is that? How do you even explain that?
Yeah, it's
stupid.
hard. Like it's a major advantage for the American League when they're in their own ballpark because they have a $25 million person typically that just is designed to rake. And when the NL goes over there, we put Cesar Hernandez as our DH in Philadelphia. I mean, that's just ridiculous. But going back to the original point, Jeffy, in the shifts, before we get to that, we joked about it yesterday. Baseball just being that overall quirky sport as is. Why is the dimensions of every ballpark different? I mean, what sport in the world actually does that outside of baseball? Can you imagine, Jeff, the EPL? Boy, we have really fast strikers. We're going to extend the pitch another 50 yards because we're going to use our speed against you. Or if you can't afford good strikers, what do, Jeff? We're going to limit the field to half its pitch, and we're going to extend the goals another 15 feet. What sport actually does that other than baseball? Imagine in basketball, Jeff, our team has a lot of really good dunkers and we can jump high. So the opposing team raises the rim to 16 feet so you can't dunk the basketball. It's hilarious that they get away with that.
No, there's so many things about baseball that are just so dumb. And that's another one of them. But hey, you know what? You know what you do to beat the shift, Donnie? You bunt.
Yeah, no, and, yeah. And on the shift back there, it's not that like teams should be smart enough or hitters should be smart enough to defeat the shift. But analytics, computer geek nerds will tell you don't change your swing because if they're the ones paying the people, and I'm talking about the internet geeks and the computer geeks in baseball that are now running front office organizations, that they tell you, Jeff, it's better to hit 180 with 30 home runs than 330 with 10 home runs. And if I'm a Major League Baseball player and you're going to pay me on that scale, I'm not bunting. I'm not hitting the other way. As long as I get the 30 home runs to the detriment of my team because I strike out 250 times, I can't move base runners, and I routinely hit right into the shift, as long as I hit 180 with 30 home runs, I'll play for 15 years and make a ton of money. I can't blame the players. I blame the front offices. So if Rob Manfred can step in and save the front offices from themselves, it would be great. The shift should go away immediately. Imagine if you just worked on hitting the ball the opposite way. Boom, there you go. No more shift. But you don't get paid to do that. The analytics, Jeff, would rather see you hit a home run every 20 at-bats and strike out the other 19 than hit 10 singles the opposite way. That's just the way analytics people think.
Why are we talking baseball? It's December. Well, because we have morning headlines, and this is a headline. That's why we're talking baseball, and we need to fill an hour show. That's why we're doing it. And we're not talking about it for long. We're only talking about it for a few minutes. Baseball really is an odd sport. Yeah, it is. It's unexplainable, really. The weirdness of it.
The only Donnie, sport also, Jeff, with unwritten rules as well. There's the only sport with unwritten rules.
True. Now, Donnie, we'll talk Thursday Night Football. We'll get a couple basketball games as well. But I had a question I saw on Twitter. I wanted to ask you, Donnie. This is an interesting question because I know you're not a beer guy. Now, listen to this question and try to think about it. Let's say your hand becomes a drink dispenser, Donnie, and each finger can shoot a different liquid. You can pick 5 on each finger. So you pick, 5 different drinks. What do you choose for the rest of your life? You can drink 5 different things for the rest of your life. What do you drink? What are your 5 drinks? Now, this comes from Barstool. It's a great question.
Obviously, it'll be water, Monster, right. Ultra Zero, Diet Pepsi.
Okay.
We put like alcohols. Or no, Diet Coke's the worst. Coke is the worst product on the planet. Like Pepsi is so much better than Coke. It's not even funny. Diet Coke is the single worst product ever available on this planet. Diet Coke is horrific.
I'm not going to debate it because this is just a taste thing. If you like Coke, you like Coke. I like Coke better. Right. I don't drink Diet, so I wouldn't know. But if I ever drink Coke, which I haven't, I don't drink soda anymore. But when I did, I was a big Coke guy, a Coca-Cola guy.
Yeah, I haven't drank regular soda. I was in high school. I've always been, ever since you got to college, you got to stay in shape. Yeah. It's always been diet. I've always been a diet soda drinker, and it's just not comparable to me. Diet Pepsi is such a far superior product than Diet Coke.
So yours is water, Monster, Diet Pepsi. You got to pick one liquor. You can't make multiple.
Liquor, yeah. I guess it would be it's hard. I guess it would be any just put flavored vodka.
And do you have milk on there or no?
I'm not a big. Look, I like cereal, but I can't tell you since I was maybe 5 that I was pour me a glass of milk to drink.
You don't do that?
No, I don't drink milk as just like a liquid. I need it in like a cereal.
Like a
But
supplement.
I don't think I've
Yeah.
ever drank a glass of milk since I was like 5.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't do much anymore either. But that's a great question. I don't think there's a lot to choose from as far as for me. It's water, it's coffee, it's milk. I like milk once in a while, keeps you healthy. Well, not really me, but your bones. Donnie, you Gatorade guy. You're not a power energy drink guy, anything like that?
Only Gatorade. Yeah. You know what's interesting? I see this Body Armor out
Uh,
for the past. I've never had Body Armor one time. I'm not a huge energy drink guy because I don't like to drink calories, so to speak, and I don't see the point of just drinking like a Gatorade and not. You might as well just have a can of Coke. You know what I mean?
Dr. Pepper beats them all. I've never had Dr. Pepper.
Dr. Pepper's
Yeah, I
fantastic.
mean, yeah, I do agree with Jensen here. Coke does rule. I think Coca-Cola is terrific. I especially when you haven't drank it in a long time. Coke is terrific. Um, so yeah, there's something to think about this morning. Great question from Barstool. That's I saw that and I wanted to ask you about that. That's a good it's a
Hmm.
good question. Um, Someone saying Body Armor's good, Donnie. Go on away. Um, yeah, I've never had it either. Red Bull, I don't drink Red Bull. Grey Goose vodka, there you go.
They
Diet
had the
Dr.
but
Pepper,
Darren
body.
Darren Ravel had the all. Did you drink all sport back in the day? Carbonated, Gatorade basically is what it was.
No, I can't say I ever
Yeah.
did, Donnie.
I
No,
remember it was funny that retweet came up because I do remember all sport. That's when everybody's trying to get in their niche in the Gatorade market and such.
Donnie, can you hear me? All right.
Yeah, I got you. You're just going in and out like wavy, but I can hear you clear now.
Yeah, I think I got to be honest. I think it's something to do with their internet down in SBR. The internet has been weird lately. Um, Raptors, Donnie, finally. Well, not finally, but they beat the Sixers. Sixers can't beat the Raptors, Donnie. I don't know what else to say about this.
Yeah, season's over again. You know what I mean? They lost to the Celtics opening night. It was over. They lost to Toronto in Toronto. Keep in mind, both of these games were on the road at Boston and Toronto. They lost both of those. So apparently the Sixers are done this year and can't compete.
Yeah, they just can't seem to beat the big teams, which I mean is no surprise. They don't have enough talent to beat the Raptors and teams like that. So, we'll root them in that they have Jimmy Butler and Embiid and Simmons, and that's great. But again, I mean, you can't get over the hump, which seems to be a kind of a loss. Now, Donnie, were you slugging Zimas back in the day?
No, I didn't like Zimas. I didn't like Zimas. I remember people making like Zimas, like you would put like the dye in it or something like that, and you'd have to drink like a green one or a blue one. Zimas were a really big fad back in the '90s, but I never really got into that.
All right, Donnie, let's get into it. Thursday Night Football, Titans, Jags. Before I get into the preview, Donnie, I want to hear why should people have interest in this game tonight?
Because it's the NFL, because it's gambling. We all like to gamble, and it's a short card in college basketball. You know what I mean? That's why. It's a standalone game. Everybody's interested in a standalone game. If you put Colgate football on tonight, Jeff, versus James Madison, and put it on as a replay, and it was the only thing on, people would watch that. Shout out Colgate beating JMU.
There you go. All right, what do we got here? We got the Titans, 5.5, total 37.5. How about that? Very low number here for two offenses that have struggled. Cody Kessler in for the Jaguars. Their season is over. The Titans, their season's over as well, for all intents and purposes. Jags at 4-8, Donnie. Value in taking them on the road here? You don't like road teams on
No,
Thursday
zero.
night, do you?
No, zero. And I'll tell you one thing, because you know us, Jeff. If you're taking the road team on Thursday night, just donate. Just donate. It's the holiday season. You know how Zeke Elliott scores a touchdown and drops the $21 in the red barrel basket for what's the Salvation Army. Just do that instead. Walk by, you see the Santas in the city, Jeff, ringing the bell, and they have the little pot. Just dump your money into there as opposed to betting road Thursday night teams. Because Cody Kessler's not going to give you any chance to win this football game. Ooh, Leonard Fournette's coming back. That's great. Well, if you have a quarterback that doesn't deserve to be a quarterback in the NFL and going on the road, I don't really know what you're supposed to expect out of Jacksonville's offense. It's going to be a well-oiled machine. They were lucky to win last week. They put up 6 points, and if Frank Wright wasn't such a meathead on offense, they would have lost that game as well. Short turnaround. Jalen Ramsey's going to play, and that defense played really well last week. We're talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Indianapolis Colts. But one team has a legitimate NFL quarterback and probably can run a legitimate NFL offense. That's the side I want to be on. I completely agree with the line movement. You could have got fours for most part of this week, now sitting at 5.5 at Chris, 5.5 at BetOnline. And I completely agree, because what you're staking here is a road team playing for absolutely nothing and having a quarterback that has absolutely no business being in the NFL. I'm not trying to get behind that unless I'm getting double digits on the road, where you just say, Jacksonville defense, come up with another ace effort and see if we can pull this out. Tennessee is going to win this football game, and Tennessee should win and cover.
I agree with you. I think I look at this game, though, Donnie, and I say to myself, how does this game get over 37.5? I mean, seriously, I know those totals are low, and I don't think we'll ever recommend, taking a total that low. But, I mean, does this not look like it's 17-9 or something?
Yeah,
you're
right.
Does
It has
Jacksonville
the MO.
score?
Yep. No, you're right. The MO of this football game is Jacksonville is going to take the same game plan and say, we suck so bad on offense, and Leonard Fournette's coming back, so let's just feed him, and let's see if our defense can make a play. Because is Cody Kessler going to go up and down the field? Is Marcus Mariota going to go up and down the field on Jacksonville? No, you're right. It screams of a lower scoring battle, because even to get over, 37.5, 38, you have to have some big plays. Now, the one thing that really can work in your favor if you're taking it over is Jacksonville's so poor on offense, Jeff, that they just keep 3 and outing. So what that means is the clock really doesn't move. You get extra possessions, and you also have a bad quarterback who can be under pressure, which is a gold mine, throwing pick sixes the other way. Yeah, but get back to your point, Jeff. No recommend on under 37. You have to have a 6-0 game to cover that. Is basically what that is.
And this is kind of crazy, but if Blake Bortles is in there, I'd obviously have a little bit more interest.
Yep, be it over. Yep, would be.
Yeah. Leonard Fournette will be back for this game, so obviously keep that in mind. But I'm not looking to bet on, as per usual, I'm not looking to bet a road team on Thursday Night Football.
They're not even playing for anything. Jacksonville's done going home. It's funny when you look at Kessler, Jeff, and you compare him to Bortles. He is Blake Bortles without the legs or the arm. So what does that leave you with? Nothing and complete garbage trash, because Bortles is trash as is. He's not even a half, a 25% margin as good as Blake Bortles, which gets me back to my original point with Jacksonville. Your game plan is what here? You're trying to see if Bortles might be able to rebound. I think we already know pretty much what Blake Bortles is. But what are you are we saying in Jacksonville right now with Tom Coughlin as the GM going, you know what? Let's start Cody Kessler. Let's see what he has. Maybe he can start for us next year. What are we doing in Jacksonville? What's our game plan here for the rest of the year? And why are we playing Cody Kessler?
I'm not sure. That's a good point by you. I'd bet under 29 in this game. Yeah, well, I mean, now you're just trying to get
the plus 250, plus 300 on there. Yeah.
Rumor is Georgia Tech's top candidate for coaching is Jeff Collins. What do I think about that? I hate that. I don't want to lose Jeff Collins. He's a great coach, and I know he's going to leave, but I mean, he's a great
Georgia
coach.
Tech,
man.
Jeff, shouldn't they stay on that same game? They have a nice niche in the triple option, right? They have a really nice
I've said
niche
it before, and I'll say it again.
That's how they can compete.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again, Donnie. If you're not a military academy, you should not be able to run the triple option. You should not be able to.
If you have, but there should be a disclaimer in there that says if you're an academic institution and not really a sports institution, you should get that waiver claim. You should be able to put a waiver in and be like, look, our standards are way higher than anybody in our league, and it's hard to get in here, and our students have to go to school and actually try to be engineers. Please help us out with a different offense. I think you should be able to put that waiver in.
I think their offense will change a little bit. Obviously, he'll come in. I think they'll still run the football, gritty defensive team, kind of the way Temple is now. But just more wrinkles of throwing the football. I mean, that offense is fairly old school, as we know. And it hasn't worked for some time. Look at Donnie. They had one good receiver in their whole football program history, Calvin Johnson.
No,
right?
You're missing another one, Deon. They had Thomas. They had DT. Go. Me and Kyle Hamburg, who comes in here quite a bit, we can't figure out how the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets got Demaryius Thomas and Megatron as wide receivers. I still can't figure it out.
That's a good point, actually.
Yes.
How did they
Megatron? When Megatron went in that SEC territory, Megatron went to Georgia Tech. Demaryius Thomas went to Georgia Tech. It's unbelievable.
And no one threw to them, right? And just
Reggie Ball,
blah.
Reggie Ball, one of the all-time inaccurate quarterbacks, was throwing the Megatron. Can you imagine if they had a competent connection back in the day with Megatron? Like, Megatron was outrageous in college, man. I think we all forget that, like, he's retired now and he's sort of out of sight, out of mind. Megatron was an outrageous wide receiver in college, one of the best I've ever seen.
Lead on the Army-Navy game. We'll get into that tomorrow, Friday, Football Friday. And we'll chat more about that prestigious game, Donnie. Hey, Donnie, want to remind people, let everybody know, we got a lot of people in here, want to kind of plug something. I'm starting a new show at SBR on Monday, December 10th. It's going to be called Off the Board. It's a late-night show, 9 to 11 every night, Monday through Friday. Me and Blackjack Fletcher we'll head that show, and it'll be like our old show. We used to have a show called Viva La Vegas. We'll take your calls. We'll talk about the night in sports. We'll do some live betting, all sorts of stuff. It's coming back, so make sure you join us every night, Monday through Friday, starting Monday, December 10th at 9 o'clock, and you'll be able to see us live. We'll have a show with a call-in screen. Larry, our producer, Larry, will be involved with the show. He'll be like that fun producer. He'll be involved. We'll get a camera on him. So there'll be a lot of cool wrinkles. We'll have some guests once in a while and enjoy the night. We had a good time with that show, and SBR decided to bring it to the airwaves. So, Donnie, I'm not going to be doing a show with you. How do you feel about that?
Very good about it. I'm retiring. Monday, December 10th will be my last day. You won't see my Twitter account will now be defunct as of the 10th. I will not appear on any more shows here, Jeff. And this is going to be – can we have a nice little montage on Fridays, my last day here on the channels?
Yes, and then you can hang up before it's over. Is there a toll-free number? Yes, listen, guys, I want to make this clear to everyone. The shows that we do, all the shows, when you call in, it's free. It's going to be free for this show. It's free on our WCKG show. Everything is free. We don't. It doesn't cost you to make a call. So yeah, Donnie. We'll have to play that Enya song that they play when people go away, or they die or whatever. Who can say what you? You know that song?
Yes. Yeah.
So we'll play that. 9 p.m. Eastern. Yes, 9 p.m. Eastern. Can you call
Jeff?
in?
They all want to know if it's
toll.
They all want to know toll free. They all want to know if it's toll free.
Yeah,
call toll
guys,
free.
Listen, it's funny on SBR or any show that I do when I explain something. Now I try to explain.
No,
it
you say that though. You say that though. That's what I like about it. Like, call toll free. And I'm like, do we still say that out here?
No. Listen, Donnie, I said 9 p.m. Eastern, right? Someone asked 9 p.m. Eastern. Is the stream on SBR's channel? Yes. The show's just like this, the one we're doing right now, except we're going to take calls, and it's at 9 p.m. Eastern.
This show sucks. Who put this on the air?
Yeah, well, you're going to like it because Blackjack from the Action Network, he'll be there, and we're, we've done shows before, and it's fun, and we'll take everybody's calls, and we'll have some fun. So is this show ending? Right now, not that we know of. Maybe it will, though, eventually. I don't know. We don't make the decisions at SBR. Damn, Donnie, will you keep the fridge stocked after the show's over?
Yes, but keep in mind,
no, he's actually
just because, I'm actually going to come. I might reincarnate myself. New name, new Twitter account, maybe even a new website, Jeff. I mean, we see people do that all the time, right?
Yeah, Right Wager's actually ending as well. Donnie's leaving me. He's so sick of my behavior. It's over.
I'm so tired of the negative EV wins. I'd rather, Jeff, I would rather you lose than get negative EV. Come on.
Yep. The guys, those are the guys that, big man, he played the money line, and that line was -1. What a shit better. What a terrible handicap. Yeah, 6 p.m. Vegas time. You got it. Big man, are you going to be wearing cowboy hats and shades within 2 months?
Yep.
No, I didn't last time. And that's what makes Blackjack and I fun. I mean, he's his way and I'm my way. But we're both East Coasters and we both understand each other. But yes, Donnie's last day will be tomorrow. We'll have a montage with remembering him. Donnie, I watched a video of you, the first video you ever did the other day on SBR.
Yes, yeah.
It's amazing how different you are until now. Like,
Well,
Like
yeah, you can go
your
on the air every day. Yeah.
like your delivery is yeah, but like great perennial people like me, like we just we just but I don't think you're that like you're different, but you're not that different. You still were able to explain stuff. It's just funny how like your personality was different because like no one knew you, like no one on the channel had ever seen
No,
you on
well,
it
yeah,
before.
and that keep in mind that first show was, I think, a college basketball show, which I don't like to talk college basketball that early in the season. So when we came on that show, it was like, hey, do you want to come on in 2 hours and talk college basketball? I'm like, dude, I'll just do some quick prep work and get in where I can get in just to get on the show. You know what I mean? It'd be different if it was probably
It's
NFL
just
or
like your
football or
delivery. It was
something.
like you're like, hi, I'm Donnie Rightside. I'm really happy to be here. It was just funny. It's cool seeing people's first like times on on shows and stuff. Big man needs a 10-gallon hat. What are you trying to say? My head's big, you motherfucker.
Yep, you need the 10th,
Yeah, well,
10th spot.
there's a lot of knowledge up here, cuz. Where's Donnie going? He's actually going to ESPN3. He'll be doing game breakdowns and play-by-play. He's actually his first job next week. He's going over to Texas Rio Grande Valley. They're playing Incarnate Word, and he'll be doing that game. So, Donnie, you're doing a show with trying to remember Sean Kemp. He's your color guy, I think. Yeah. So Donnie
No,
will
I'm
be
actually
doing.
no, I'm entering into the DFS world. I will be a DFS tout from here on out. And if you want my plays, I specialize in golf. So come on over.
Yeah, we're just kidding. Donnie's not going anywhere. We're just doing different things. Donnie's gonna be I'm just gonna be doing a show at night, and Donnie's not around because he doesn't do shows at night. So
I'm too old.
that'll be
I'm
that.
in bed. By the time that show starts at 9 o'clock, I'm already fast asleep by like 20 minutes. So
It's funny, Donnie, how people still believe that every time we do that. Where's Donnie
yeah,
going?
but
Where's he going?
I'm always sarcastic. So yeah, it's straight up.
Low Shack from yesteryear to now is outrageous. Yeah, he's changed a lot. Peter used to be very buttoned up, very host driven. Now he's let his hair down, if you will, a little bit. College basketball, Donnie, tonight. What do we have on the card? What do we got?
We're already at CBB time, Jeff? All right, let's take a look here for us. Let me just bring up the result card.
Unless you have something else you want to talk about.
3 games we picked out tonight, Jeff, which actually, if you have a 1, 2, 3, let's see, I have 6 line games early. And usually when you get a 6 line games, tonight and tomorrow don't look too healthy, but you have some decent numbers in there. Thank goodness for the Big Ten, right, Jeff? They actually give you some product before January that you can say, you know what? Some interesting games to deal with. First one's up on the deck. Maryland and Purdue, Jeff, early indicators. Maryland, 70% of the early betting tickets. Line opened up at 6.5, Jeff, in the favor of Purdue, right? So let's just say, and give me Maryland. That's such an unbelievable price. Pinnacle now minus 8.5. You can get 8s across the board. Sharpness, Jeff, on those Boilermakers. Are we boilering up tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I wouldn't be looking to boiler up just because when you look at a game like this, you have to say to yourself, when I look at a college, people ask me, someone asked me the other day, how do you decide on what team you bet on? Sometimes it has to do with a collection of things. Sometimes it's a straight, fate of a team. Sometimes it's, I just see a lower level added game and I see value in the team beating up the other team. Or sometimes it's a schematic thing. Sometimes it's a public sharp thing plus a schematic thing. You look at this game, this is a schematic thing to me because Purdue, the goal with Purdue is, and it's always the goal with Purdue, ball movement and threes. You want to get threes, open shots in transition. And you look at Donnie, Purdue, almost 50% of their shots are threes. They really, that's just what they do. Carson Edwards, Matthias, all those guys, they like to shoot the 3-ball. You look at Maryland, very simple. They don't really give you much from the 3-point line. They're very good and sound on the perimeter. Plus, Maryland, I generally like teams that play up tempo. You look at yesterday, Illinois, it didn't end up working out, but for a long stretches, it gave Ohio State issues. The numbers starting to move up here, which is a telling sign. I think sharp money is betting Purdue. But I don't like I don't like the matchup. Maryland is a pretty good 3-point defense. I think the tempo might give Purdue some issues. I kind of like Maryland here, but it's not a game I'm going to be betting.
No, I mean, yeah, you're right. You have some interesting points in there because you do have some good ball players going back. I like watching Carson Edwards play. I mean, I think he's a pretty good guy in the Big Ten. But just looking overall, Jeff, you're right. When you look at the breakdown of statistics, is there really something you can go after? Because you're right, talking about 3-point shooting. Yes, Purdue is good, but Maryland defends it. Or if you say Maryland shooting the three, not so good, but they can't, even though Purdue doesn't really defend the three all that well, they can't really exploit it. You know me, even you, same way. Let's find which side is the public on or not on, and then try to like chop it down and say, where can I find that advantage at? Because if it's completely different, if you're saying like, hey, Purdue shoots the lights out, Maryland doesn't defend the three, then you got something,
Plus, you also have to remember too, one thing that Purdue's able to do a lot of the time is they're able to beat you up down low because they have a guy like a Harms or someone like that. One of my favorite players in the country is Bruno Fernando, big kid, a Brazilian kid, 6'10". He's an efficient player around the rim. I think that kind of, I don't think cancels out Harms and those kind of players, but it's another thing to kind of use here as a way to stay in this game. When you're giving me 8 points in a game like this, as Donnie said, you kind of want to make it's kind of one of the things where everything comes together, kind of like an over, Donnie. Like last night with the UIC game, that was kind of the perfect storm for an over. The Marshall game, perfect storm for an over. This is a perfect storm for the dog. You have a team that does well against the opponent's schematic. You have bigs down low that can handle the bigs in the other team. I don't know that right now. To me, I see 8 points difference between these groups. Add in the fact that it is in West Lafayette, which helps, but at 8, I'm willing to take the dog here.
Yeah, no, and how about last night, Jeff? Some late night action games where we talked about on the show yesterday. I kept telling you, like, man, something stinks about this Washington Huskies team getting 15, 16 points with that avalanche of money coming on the Gonzaga. Of course, I didn't stay up for that game, Jeff. Woke up, flipped through the scores. 2-point game, Jeff. Yes, it was a pretty good day if you were line reading and trying to find spots.
Yeah, what a great game. I as many know, I stay up late, so I watch these games, and it was a great game. I mean, Gonzaga had, a late lead. They kind of were looking like maybe they're going to pull away, but I'll tell you what, that Washington team is really good, and I thought they'd win the Pac-12 this year. I've touted them. I thought they were a team that could really give teams issues, and Donnie, they did it without Noah Dickerson. Noah Dickerson had 4 fouls, then ended up fouling out. But here's the thing: when Gonzaga gets Tilly back, I don't know how you beat Gonzaga, because the only inability and issue they have right now is their interior, lack of bigs for the most part, like a good solid big. He provides that. So, but yeah, it was a great game. Washington's really good, and good for Gonzaga. You need those games to test your mettle. Good teams win those games, and fraud teams find ways to lose those games, and that's the difference between, Donnie, a really good team long-term in a Gonzaga and a team mired in negativity in Temple. Temple is a total different team. They can't find ways to win those games. Temple, guys, you got to remember, in wins in history, Temple is a top 5 wins team in history. They're up there with Kansas. They're up there with Duke. They used to be a power, Temple. They used to be the 5th team in this town, but they found ways to lose. They found ways to not be able to recruit. They brought in bad coaching, and that's where a team kind of frays and goes the opposite way. And there's the difference right now with teams like Gonzaga and why they're always a power and they're always a team people like, and a team like Temple, because they don't win. They lose games the way they do. But that was a great game last night, Donnie. I'm sad you missed it. It was a good one.
Yeah, and it's amazing 2 different ways those city schools could have went, Jeff, because you did see, like, way back in the day, Temple was a really good program for a long time. But then I'm talking about, more, NCAA era, what you see common now, the Temple John Chaney years. They were a powerhouse on the East Coast. It's just a shame that they weren't able to latch on and get into that Big East, talk early on, as opposed to staying in the A-10. Because even being in the A-10, they were a top 10 power every year, but they should have had the infrastructure, the big market in Philadelphia. Step up and try to, force your way in basketball wise into the Big East and just get after it that way. They were never able to do that. And then you see that smaller institution off, just outside the city limits that was able to use the Philadelphia market, being Villanova, and get into the Big East, and look at the trajectory.
Plus, that's a great point. And look, again, you lose. John Chaney's one of those guys you almost wished could coach forever. I mean, he was a great coach. I mean, he made it to the Final Four. I mean, he did.
And Jeff, funny about that too. One player probably could have changed that trajectory talked about. Back in the early 90s, there was a dominant player that was deciding between North Carolina and Temple from Simon Gratz High School. If he would have chose Temple, I think you would have seen it completely. Exactly. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, and you know what? It was Rashid's. I mean, Rashid literally grew up, I don't know, 10 blocks from Temple.
I
I
was
mean,
surprised on
Simon.
that. Yeah, I was surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Simon Gratz is basically 10 blocks from Temple. Rashid, was a guy that, I mean, he could have changed the I mean, another guy, Donnie, recently, Jalen Brunson. If Temple's a team that doesn't care about, Temple had Jalen Brunson. Rick Brunson played at Temple. He had basically said,
delivered.
I'm going to come coach with you. I'll bring my 5-star son, and he'll play point guard for you, friend. This guy
not only do you not only do you add the Temple, but you take away from Villanova. How big was that? And look at what happened.
Yep, perfect. And again, Brunson's involved with some issue with a woman. They decide, we're not going to do this because Brunson's going to come off bad for our program. And Villanova says, you know what? We don't care. We like to win here. And it's not really as bad as we thought it'd be. So, Temple, we'll take him off your hands. And that's
also
why
back in the day.
Yeah.
With John Chaney, Jeff, if you remember, I mean, he's a hard-line guy, but he really gets through to you, takes care of his players, and that's why Temple was always Temple tough. Temple always played one of the toughest schedules in the NCAA because John Chaney would say, look, I'll schedule anybody, anywhere, anytime before January because that's going to help my team go through the rest of the season. And when you're getting the big-name recruits, Jeff, that's a good thing, but his practice schedule, for all these prima donnas now, Jeff, they practiced at like 4:30 in the morning, and he did it on purpose so you couldn't stay out late and get in trouble because you had to be up at like 5 a.m. for practice the next day. And recruits now, I got to wake up at 4:30 and practice. I'm not doing that. Another thing. But, hey, that's why it made John Chaney great. Pretty cool.
I will say, though, like, as bad as I don't like Fran Duff anymore, like, he is a Philadelphia guy, institution. It's time for him to go. But the guy coming in, Aaron McKee, I think he's going to be another great coach. Temple's been able to grab these coaches and have them there for a long time. And I think Aaron relates to these young kids, and I'm excited to see what he has next year. I almost just wish he would just leave now, though, because you have actually a pretty decent team here. Donnie, what else do we have on the college card? Anything?
Yeah, we'll go Iowa State and Iowa, Jeff. 61% of the early wagers coming in on Iowa. That line opened up at -1.5 for Iowa State, but now we're seeing threes. So this is another interesting one, Jeff. Only 39% of the wagers coming in on one side and moving that line upward. We're taking a look at some, styles make fight type of stuff. The one interesting thing that you look at between both of these ball clubs, Jeff, I mean, tempo's decent for both. Iowa a little bit faster than Iowa State. But when we're taking a look at a three-point perspective here, both teams defend the three very well, and neither team shoots the three particularly efficient in this spot.
Donnie, this game, if someone asked who the biggest fraud team in the country is, and to me, it's probably Iowa. Iowa's a complete fraudulent group. I mean, you look at how they get offense. You know how they get offense, Donnie? You know how they score?
What, tempo?
No, they're second in the country at getting to the free throw line.
Yeah.
They're very reliant on free throws. 58.2% free throw rate, which is very high. And people say, long term, when you start facing really good basketball teams, they're not gonna let you get to the free throw line. They're gonna shut that down. Also, the Hawkeyes were historically bad on defense last year. Right. The Hawkeyes were historically bad on defense last year, and nothing's really changed. I mean, it's still the same old issues on defense for them. Also, you look at Iowa State. I mean, I think Iowa State's really good. I mean, they're a team that's also been without a couple of their best players. Lindell Wigginton's been out. You're not going to see him for a while until Big 12 play starts. And he's their best player, and they've still been able to do some good things. Look, I like Iowa State in this game. I think they're a much better, sound team. They also don't foul much. 23rd lowest in the country as far as fouls per game, foul rate. You're not going to put people in the line, and that hurts Iowa. Also, Iowa's inability to seemingly ever get stops. I like what I've seen out of Iowa State. I like this offense. Steve Prohm has a real nice group right now. Bring over Shayok from Virginia. Michael Jacobson's been good. And, you look at, Iowa. I just don't trust them on defense. I never do. This is a big game in the state of Iowa. I'll lay the short price here on Iowa State.
Jeff, how about the last game here? An interesting one. Oakland and Fairfield here. When you look at some of the advanced numbers and numbers that come out for both of these clubs, I would say defense is probably not at the top of the charts for both of these programs. On the one thing, you're seeing an over-under in that high 140s, 147, 148. Oakland's offensive length of possessions, almost down the bottom, which means they're slowing it down. But both of these teams can really shoot the three-point shot, Jeff, and neither one defends it all together. It's an interesting one here if you're going to take a look at a total because you don't get that, supreme fast tempo and three-point shooting that you do like, but you do get two horrific defensive teams out there.
Yeah, this game would have been a lot better last year just because, there wasn't a team that lost more last year really over, other than like a big-time blue blood other than Oakland. I mean, Oakland lost really everybody. I mean, I think they returned 8% of their scoring from last year. And it showed. I mean, Greg Campy has issues defensively. He always has. He doesn't preach defense, and they don't defend at Oakland. And I think one thing he could fall back on was the fact that Oakland was this team that could score. They could put up 85 a game, and it was okay because they'd give up 80 but score 85, and they didn't cover, but they won games, and that worked. But now you don't have that scoring punch. You don't have the ability to outscore teams, and Oakland's had problems. I mean, you look at their wins this year. Their wins have come against James Madison, Defiance College, and Oral Roberts. I mean, they're just not very good. You look at Fairfield, they lose Tyler Nelson. They're not what they once were. I'd have rather played this game last year. It'd have been much funner or more fun. But I'll tell you what, Donnie, frankly, I still kind of lean Oakland. I still think they have some decent talent. Brad Brading, Javon Cumberland, Hill Mays is a decent player. Hill Mays is actually a really good player. He put up, I think, a 30 spot against Xavier the other night. I'll lean with them. I just think Campy's a kind of an underrated coach, and maybe he could figure something out. This team has, though, lost a lot of talent, but I'm confident, though, that some of the talent they bring back is better than what Fairfield has. I don't really think the Stags are very good either, so I'll lean with Oakland here.
Yeah, 3 games, interesting, Jeff. Not a lot of time left on the show, but, that's a little short card for us there, right?
Yeah. Hoiberg would be a good hire for a middling Power 5 team. Yeah, I agree. Agree with that, sure. Favorite Sopranos character, excluding Tony. My favorite Sopranos character, excluding Tony. Probably Johnny Sack. I always enjoyed his scenes. There are a lot of great. Richie Aprile was great. Richie Aprile might have been the most underrated character in the show. I mean, he just had some great one-lines, as far as just season 2, and it was just great. Yeah, I would say Johnny Sack probably. Donnie, who would yours be other than Tony?
In The Sopranos? Oh, Paul. I mean, Paulie's probably got to be my favorite by far, right?
Yeah, I gotta be honest, he's a lot like me, frankly. I mean, I'm serious. Like, I'm extremely like one of those a clean people. He's a clean freak. I'm a lot like that too. But I will say this: I found him to be annoying at times. Like just some of his overreactions and his constant talking, and I don't know. But no, he was a great character. Feach LaManna was a pretty underrated minor character.
Yeah.
Yeah, Feach was just kind of that great character, like that random character in one season that was funny. Christopher, he was a liability. Remember the great scene with Feach LaManna, Donnie, is when Paulie goes in and tries to kind of strong arm Feach, and Feach thinks that he needs to respect Feach because Feach did time, and Feach just basically hands Paulie his fucking dick and says, "Get the fuck out of here." Another character that I always enjoyed.
You love Sal Vitro? He was one of your favorites?
No, he was one of my. I hated him. He was one of my top 5 hated characters. I loved Phil Leotardo, the Shah of Iran. He was a great character.
Yeah. He came on late in the seasons too. Yeah, his like that season, the final season and a half when he took the reins, he was fantastic.
Dude, remember the scene when they're at the Pussy's Body Shop and they're fucking with the seat, like the power chair.
The paint. It's the paint. It's not as bright as it used to be. So call me when he gets ready. They're shaking us down for a factory seat.
It is different. It's duller.
It's off. It's off. It's off its axis.
It's duller. And then he sits down. He goes, and he's got like that neck brace on, and he's like, "This seat's off. Come try this, Joey." Joey sits down. Then he starts talking about the pain. What a great fucking character, man. I love that character, man. The best scene in the show, Donnie, is when he's in his like cafe after his brother gets whacked. And he's kind of rehashing his whole life, how like he's been kind of taking shit his whole life. It's like the end of the episode, and that's basically when he turns the tide on Tony and basically gets into that war with him. What a great fucking show, man. Fuck, man.
Yeah, it's a shame it ended. They couldn't bring it back, or they couldn't get like one more movie together for like 2.5 hours before
they're bringing this new movie out, but it's like a prequel to the show, so it's
going to be great though. Yeah, but it's going to be great though once it comes out. Actually, I'm glad you reminded me of that because it's been a while since I actually thought of that.
Daryl Lyles, Artie was one of my favorites. Really, I hated Artie. He was annoying, man. Like, but he was that kind of friend that you had that you kept close, but he always had shit around him, you know.
Artie and Charmaine.
Yeah, Charmaine was hot. I like Charmaine. She's one of my favorite woman characters. Great rack on Charmaine. Ralph, dude, you hate Daryl Lyles. Also like Ralph. Wow, you have a lot of characters I hated. Ralph was funny, but he was kind of an irritating guy. Artie and Ralph. Wow. Would you do Meadow or Adriana? Adriana. Artie was a loser. Yeah, he was a loser. Exactly. A great point. People named Artie are always kind of losers, right, Donnie? I don't think I've ever met like a successful Artie.
Just call him Artichoke. Yeah.
All right. Before we go, Donnie, big question for you. If you were an NFL GM starting from scratch, what 3 possessions would you target first, excluding quarterback?
Yeah, it would be your tackles, offensive tackle. It would be cornerback, and I guess it'll be up for grabs on maybe since it's such a passing league and you can't take a quarterback or I can't target a quarterback, would have to be wide receiver, right?
There you go. Charmaine was the hottest woman on the show. I think the Italian mob boss in the second season, she was the hottest on the show.
Yeah, you had Adriana, you had Danielle from Whippany for a couple shows.
Oh yeah. Janice.
Yep. Yeah.
That's funny. There were a lot of underrated. But what do you think of Jackie Jr., Donnie?
Yeah, he was a great character in there. You know what's funny? I was watching Ray Donovan. Obviously, I always watch it, but I couldn't watch it Sunday. I watched it last night. No, I think one of the cops that has a side part is actually Sean Gismonti. I need to confirm this.
Oh yeah, really?
Because you know how these paid shows like Showtime, HBO, they interact and use a lot of the same characters in these shows for all these different networks. And I wanted to say, like, they arrested Ray Donovan last night, gets out of his car, and I swear to God, one of the cops that hits him with the baton was Sean Gismonti.
Chippendale. That's funny.
Fantastic.
Jackie Jr. is actually in Power. He was in Power a couple episodes. He was a narcotics officer. He is Ray Donovan, Donnie, that character. His character's name is Danny Bianchi.
So it is.
The actor's name is Chris Cardio.
Right, I was right. I swear, because sometimes you just watch a movie like, I know that guy, and I swear to God, when I saw it, I was like, I think I even told my wife, who has no idea what I'm talking about, which most people don't when you bring up Sean Gismonti, but we do. We know.
Brendan Falone. He's another fucking idiot character.
Yeah, because also one of the cops was Vinny from even way back to Doogie Howser days. He is now in Ray Donovan. He's one of the the Internal Affair Bureau guys that is trying to get after. And Herc is one of the cops. Jeff, remember Herc?
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. Herc from The
Wire. Yeah, like they use all these guys that you can just like pull in and out of. Man, I saw that guy on this scene and that scene. Yeah, it's good
Donnie,
stuff.
The best scene with Falone is when they're sticking up that truck, he goes, "It's a gun, hold it sideways, shit."
Yeah.
Guys
critiquing him while they're trying to rob some guy. Yeah, exactly.
He's like, "What's the gun, hold it sideways, shit."
Well, yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. We're late here. Everyone have a great day. Thanks for joining the show. We'll be back tomorrow, Football Friday. We'll also be on today at 3 o'clock on the WCKG show. We'll do some buy or sell. We'll talk some bowl games. We got a lot to do on all the shows. Make sure you join us. Everyone have a great day. Bye-bye.